Hey, good to see you back. Today we're going to do a floor-based practice. It's going to be fairly short. Hopefully we're going to cover everything that you are looking for in your practice today. A little bit of back work, strengthening, mobilizing. We've got a bit of hip work, rotation, and by the end of it you can choose whether you're going to have a relaxation or whether you're going to go straight back into your day. Meet me on all fours to start with. We're going to have the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees under the hips, ready for a cat and cow. Now, the cat and cow sometimes has moving feet and sometimes it doesn't. The crown of the head is lengthening forward to start with. You're starting with a long spine. Check that the distance between your knees and your hands is appropriate, so you're not too short in your stance. When you're too short, you're pre-compressing the spine. You can't move from there. If you're too long, the shoulder can't stabilize. So finding that appropriate distance. It's a distance of your torso length from the hip to the armpit. On the exhale, we're going to roll up the spine, tucking the toes under. So you're lifting the heels and drawing the toes towards your knees. Inhale, point the toes along the mat and press the top of the foot down. Exhale, tuck the toes round the back from the tail to the head. Inhale, point and draw the heart forward. So we're going to do a few. Breathing out as you're rounding. Cat, Marjaryasana. Inhale, cow. So instead of sitting for a little while, you use this to get into your mindful state by working with your breath rather than just doing the movement really, really fast. You're checking in with your body, noticing how your spine moves. How does your body feel doing this? Maybe you notice as you repeat that there's more movement available through each repetition. Beautiful. Nice. And then when you've finished your last one, we're going to take our hands a little bit further forward as we sit back. So you're doing an extended child's pose. You can take the knees a bit wider. We're not here for long. It's more about the distance between the knees and the hands that we're trying to set up. Sink your ears towards the ground between the upper arms. Inhale, come forward, middle finger spread forward towards the front edge of the mat, and then bend the elbows and sit back, breathing out. Inhale. Exhale, belly button tightens, little tricep press up, hug the arms onto the onto the ribs. The upper arm snuggles onto the rib cage. The elbow keeps pointing towards the feet. Breathe out as you go down so you can tighten the belly upward towards the spine, stabilizing and stiffening the spine. So it's not about how deep you go. The chest is aiming between the hands, so we're just strengthening here through the back of the arm, stabilizing around the shoulder. Draw the shoulders towards your hips. You're going to work on your belly and your back. The more stable you are in your lower back, your belly muscles have to work for that, the easier this is. Now, as you repeat, feel the muscles on the armpit edge, on the rib cage, working. Lovely. Last one. We're going to transition this next one to the ground. If you want to, you can walk down over your elbows. I'm just going to lower down. And now I'm on the ground, so you can meet me there. Walking down over the elbows, just walking down and lowering down. Hands by the armpits, ready for a cobra. So the middle finger is pointing towards the short edge of the mat. Really spread the fingers out and touching the edge of your rib cage at the armpit, maybe a little bit wider, elbows up and back, and working towards inward behind you. Nose is just over the mat. Roll the shoulders towards the ears. Inhale, peel the chest up, bottom rib first. Exhale. So not very high. I'm starting low on purpose. Inhale, draw the ribs forward. Exhale. Inhale, chin in. Exhale, lengthen the back of the neck. Breathing in as you come up and out as you go down. So your arms are already a little bit tired, which is actually good, because that means you can actually use a bit more of your back muscles to get up. As you repeat, you can peel up higher. Just remember, Bujanghasana, the Cobra, never has straight arms. The straight-armed version that looks similar is called the upward dog, and I don't recommend you doing it many times or often. It's very intense, and this one is much more beneficial, so let's stick with the Cobra. When you've come up to the height that you feel is your limit, maybe hold a moment, widen the chest, draw the chest forward. Exhale. Double your hands underneath your forehead. Breathe into the small of the back, rock your hips. Wonderful. Moving on to the Locust. So we're trying to kind of slightly overload the back muscles to help them get stronger, because if you always just do enough, you're maintaining what you've got. You're not going to build strength. So we need to build strength by going a little bit past what is comfortable. Rolling the shoulders back, palms touching the floor, thumb points away. My fingertips are just about touching. I'm already activating between the shoulder blades. On the inhale, reach. You can keep your fingers on the ground or lift the arms up, reaching back. I've picked up my legs, including my knee and towards my thigh, top end, breathing in, gazing down. Breathing, breathing. Slowly back down. Double your hands underneath your forehead. Have a rock from side to side. Trying one more Locust. Hands back into that kind of jet wing position. Roll the shoulders towards the ears, back and then towards each other behind. Fingertips are just about touching, already switching the muscles at the back of the shoulder on. Inhale, draw the elbows back towards each other, draw the shoulder blades to the center back. Reach the tiptoes back, lengthen, squeeze your bum. And if your low back is pinching, you need to contract a little bit from the front through the belly. Keep gazing down so that you are in a nice long neck that is continuous coming out of the spine. And then slowly down. Hands by the armpits. Inhale. Exhale, sitting back on your heels into a relaxed child's pose, maybe with the hands behind and the head on the ground. Letting the shoulders soften and relax towards the floor. Breathe into the small of the back. Press through the floor by hands pressing next to the knees, coming back up. We're going to have a heart melting pose from here. Knees and thighs are stacked. Lengthen the body. Walking the hands wider, V-shaped, forward, middle finger pointed away from you across the corners or maybe even a bit further. Press through the hands strongly, spreading the hand wide. Lower your chest towards the floor. Now, imagine you're doing a cat rounding in the lower back and then a cow in the upper back. Rotating the elbows slightly towards the floor, that means you're making a bit more space at the inside of the shoulder where your collarbone and your upper arm meet. You may rest the head on the floor. You could have a block underneath the forehead, as I've described in other videos before. Keeping it simple here so that you don't have to worry walking back at any point. Remember, you never have to hold anything longer than you feel comfortable. Arms by the side, relax shoulders. Breathing into the back, child's pose. Beautiful. Take your hands by your knees. Maybe take your knees slightly wider, reaching forward, extend the child's pose. Breathing into the rib cage, maybe lowering the chest down a little bit more. Inhale forward into the long cow. So the distance between the knees and hands is longer than you would normally have it if you're just doing cat and cow. We're transitioning from here into the downward dog. So remember, you need to get the same folding action as when you're doing the child's pose at the hip. So let's fold back as if we're doing a child's pose with tucked toes, and then lift the hips from there. Lengthening through the armpits, lifting the sit bones. Knees gently to the ground. Inhale forward. Exhale, belly button slightly towards the spine without rounding, stabilizing so your hands don't slip. Looking towards the feet and coming forward again. Now, if you're wearing glasses, you're going to be very tempted to look forward as you're coming up, because your glasses will start dangling on your eyebrows and you won't like it much. Last one here. When you're doing that, let them dangle, ignore what they're doing or take them off beforehand. You don't want to compromise your neck alignment. Last one. Holding the downward dog a moment, pedaling your feet, stretching your calves. So you keep the ball of the foot down and you press the heels down, alternate. If your toes hurt a lot, because maybe you've got arthritis there, you want to keep the ball of the foot and the toes flat. Bend the knees more and work on the fold at the hip. Nice. Walk forward slightly and then place your knees down. And we come to kneeling. So I'm sitting on my heels for a moment. Don't worry, we're not here for long. We're coming into camel pose now. I feel I could do with a bit of widening across the chest. So knees are parallel, hip widths, not hugging together. You're going to take the hands into the space below the floating ribs, so next to the spine. There's that prominent muscle, and then you've got softness underneath the rib. That's where you place your heel of the hand, middle finger points down. On either side, inhale, squeeze your bum strongly, make dimples on the side, move the hips forward, past the knees, widening the chest and draw the funny bones behind you, back and together, gazing forward and up. Camel pose. Slowly down. Release. So I don't stay there for long. Better short and sweet, especially when you haven't done it many times or maybe it's not the easiest one for your back. The action of the arms is a brushing down action and a back and in action to get the widening of the chest to release through the chest. The forward action of the hip gives you that back bend that comes from the hip extension, not just from one small part of your back. You want a continuous back bend in the camel. Let's try again. Inhale. Squeeze your bum, lengthen the belly. I'm drawing my belly button in at the same time as my belly is lengthening. Drawing in, making sure that the neck is not compromised. I'm gazing forward and up rather than letting my head hang. And then when you're ready to come back down, upright. Wonderful. Have a little roll of the shoulders. Superb. Now I like to just leave it upright instead of folding so that my body remembers this new, more opened position. We're going to sit on the bottom now, so you can take your soles of the feet together for me, making sure you're comfy, adjusting any clothing, and you don't have to touch your heels to your legs. We're not even working to that. You find that ideal position where you comfortably can sit there. You've got a little bit of something happening here and in the actual hip joint. Lengthening, inhale. Arms up. Exhale, fold. Breathe into the small of the back. Let's stay here for a couple of breaths. On the next exhale, draw the knees down towards the floor, letting the soles of the feet peel away from each other. And I'm lengthening my chest forward and up. I'll show you from the side. So instead of going down like this, backward, and letting the spine fold backward, I lengthen up first, and then I'm coming forward, and I'm trying to keep my spine long, and I'm reaching my top of the head forward and up rather than down. So on the exhale, the knees go down towards the ground, using the outside muscles of the hip to release the inside muscles. And then we come back up. Inhale, coming tall, fold both legs together, have a wriggle in the middle. So we've got legs parallel. You can sit upright like this. If you press your hands down or your knuckles, you're sitting in staff pose. It's a pose in itself. It doesn't often happen because it looks, well, fairly boring, I suppose. Not very photogenic. So if you're looking for something for Instagram, maybe this one's not the one. We're going to take one leg in towards the inside of the thigh. So the same position as before, just half of it. And the toe comes up at the front. Turning towards that long leg, away from the leg that's out to the side. If you've got particularly bad pinch here, you can put a blanket or pillow underneath, prop that knee up a little bit. This is not as important now. We're focusing on the long leg. Inhale, lengthen, sitting as upright as you can, rocking forward over your sit bones. Exhale, hinging from the hip, breathing out. Now, what happens here, people let their toes relax, they point them, the whole leg folds out to the side and the kneecap is pointing off to somewhere else. Kneecap and toe straight up in the zone where stuff happens. Inhale. Exhale, walk forward. 2. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, keep the chest lifted and the front of the body long. Exhale. The more you aim to keep the space on the forward movement, breathing out long, the better you get that result of forward motion and the comfort where you are actually able to tolerate that long reach better. Chest up. Exhale. Wonderful. And then last one. Take a moment here, couple of breaths. Oh, the sun is coming back. You probably can see it. A bit of light change here today. And we come back. So I try to work with natural light because it's a right faff trying to get the light set up for nice video lighting. And then you look like a ghost if you don't get it right. So bearing with me with the night changes. You've got the other leg in now. And we're going to get the other toe straight up. Sitting comfortably on your sit bones. You could potentially put something underneath your bum to help you with the fold or make a bit more space. You've learned that in a couple of other videos before, that elevating the hips helps you. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, gliding back. Chest up, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, reach. I'm just gliding along the leg. I'm going into the place where it goes interesting in the back of the leg. Try to watch your knee and your toe so that you don't got any of those floppy activities. Couple more times. Wonderful. So if this is a pose that you're bothered about getting better with, then you want to hold a moment here at the end and maybe do it every day for a week. You don't need to do it long, a couple minutes on each side, and then you'll see that the body will give you more space as you keep practicing. Breathing out. You can still walk forward. You don't have to lock the knee out. It can be having a mild bend. Just don't kind of move the knee the whole time as you're moving. Slowly come back. Nice. Let's fold the leg in. And hug the leg around the knee. Hand behind you, flat on the floor, or knuckles if you feel like flat on the floor makes you have to reach down and make you round. You want to use the arm behind you, I show you, to wedge yourself upward and then hug the leg, rotating your sternum to face in the direction where your hip joint is. And the other two are activating, toes up, the other foot is pressing down, hugging this leg a bit more, drawing the shoulder down because it easily comes up. And then working on drawing the shoulder of the hand that's on the ground backward. Beautiful. Breathing deeply. You feel your belly is squished up against the thigh. Yeah, it's intended like that. Beautiful. And then we're going to release. Other leg stands up, rotating around for the other side. So giving yourself the toe up, the knee straight up, the hug. My foot is next to the inner thigh, next to the knee. Draw your shoulder back and lengthen. Nice Maharichi's pose. Also kind of the sister pose of the half-lord of the fishes. Nice starting pose for rotation. Checking that both of your sit bones are on the ground, so you're not like sitting in the air. Both of the edges of your lower back on either side above the pelvis want to be nice and long. Can you grow a little bit forward? It's so tempting to lean back. You don't want to lean back. You want to grow forward and up the leg. Checking that your shoulders are behaving, that they're not coming up to the ears. I like to use my knuckles behind me with a straight wrist stacked into the forearm because I can give more pressure and I don't have to lean down. Just seems to be like my arm is a little bit short against my torso. Very good. Have a wriggle in the middle. Beautiful. If you can sit cross-legged, that would be great. If you don't find it comfortable, sit whichever way you like. Let's take a moment to take the hands together and have a few breaths. Just listening to the body and the breath. Breathing into the belly, into the ribs. Notice how when you inhale, you grow taller. Beautiful. Thank you for your wonderful practice. I hope you enjoyed your practice. I recommend that you take a guided relaxation now. If you don't have time, that's fine. Just forgive yourself that you haven't got time and just be happy that you actually managed to get to your mat. I think you did wonderful. Let me know how things go for you in general with all the video library. What is missing? What are you really enjoying? What do you need more of? Thank you for coming. I see you next time. Namaste. I see the light in you.